I'm a graphic designer, and I'll send it in to you. And I said, you should go fuck
You're
yourself.
live, Kevin.
Hi, how are you? Welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. How the hell are you? For those of you that just listened to the show, you missed yet another fantastic buffering gag. It does not get old.
Under the wires?
Sure.
That seems very unsafe.
You know what happens? Place burns down, we don't care. It's our last show, ladies and Jews, from this location.
Oh, boy, there was a really dramatic pause between from this location.
Sammy, it's a hell of a way to tell you that you're not welcome back.
Wow.
Is by saying it's our last show.
You know what? Fair enough.
We're all going to be
No
here.
argument here.
You should not
I've
so much.
seen the old shows. You're not wrong.
You bastard. And I say that with all due respect to your parents.
Thanks.
Ivan Reitman is pre-taped, so he'll be our show next Sunday. It's also my birthday.
What?
Send your gifts to contact@Sam LaVine.
That is not a thing.
But yeah, so we're pre-taped for next Sunday, and then the following Sunday, the Putty, the Patrick of the Warburton.
David Putty.
I'm sure that's what he loves to be called.
Yeah.
Or the guy from the pre-show of Soren over California.
He's the Soren guy to me, for sure, if you've been to Disneyland.
That's a great little inside joke that will make sense to literally dozens of people.
His show that he's got on now has been on for, what, 3 years or something? He shouldn't have to deal with this Putty nonsense.
For sure.
He should be so pleased. I'm just back from the Springfield, Illinois. I want to thank everyone there. You were great. You were incredible. I was just average. Ran into Gary Busey on the way back.
No!
Yeah. I refer to these run-ins now as when Busey attacks. And here's what he said. Hey, Kevin, my dad didn't say much to me, but I'll never forget one thing he did say to me. He said, son, that was it. Scared the shit out of me. That was it. It scared the shit out of me. He just said, son. I think Gary was making a joke, but I don't know.
You really can't tell.
Because he kind of hung there.
Yeah.
Stopping all the time.
Yeah.
Really. My daddy said to me, son, that was it. Scared the shit out of me. Sammy, what the hell have you been doing since 3 days ago?
It's been an amazing 3 days.
Hasn't it, though? Well, for those of you watching from around the world, you probably noticed the facial hair still on the LaVine face.
Yeah, that's happened.
How's that working for you against the pillow? See, I can never. It's
not the pillow that's so much of an issue as Eve won't let me kiss her anymore.
Is that what you kids call it?
That is kissing. How dare you? This is a family show.
No, that's where you're wrong.
This is a family show.
Fuckhole. It's not a family show. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
Eve has a problem with the facial hair?
Eve, my lovely girlfriend, who initially was like, honey, grow a beard, I don't care. Now it's like I try to kiss her, she's like, no.
I just realized you're doing this for Doug Benson, because he calls you...
Lil Wolverine.
Little Wolverine.
I'm not doing it for Doug Benson. I'm not. This is just for me at this point.
Oh, man. It was for an audition and a callback.
It was for an audition and a callback. Now it's for photographs, but really it's just my unemployment beard.
All right. Unemployment protest?
Who are we kidding?
Is this your...
World Series beard.
This is my Occupy Wall Street / World Series / unemployment /
Occupy show
beard.
business.
Why not? Occupy show business.
There you
Well
go.
done. Thank you, sir.
Occupy Hollywood. Occupy this. Jamie, we have just birthday month, right? It's just
It doesn't stop.
all
and then
up
it goes
in it.
up until like mid-November.
Our own Dr. Chen, when is is it today?
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow is your official birthday.
The 24th.
You had your swing ding.
Yes.
Sorry I missed it. Damn it. Did you wake up in a pool of your own urine and vomit?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, you can't ask for more than that.
You don't want to wake up in a pool of someone else's.
That's where you're wrong.
Oh.
Yeah.
You do?
Mystery urine.
Then it was an even better night than you thought.
Yeah, exactly. That's not me. Yeah, that's what you want. What happened? Then you call CSI and they come in with the sunglasses. This guy's dead. Elaine, our dear friend Elaine Ewing, our social media expert, had her own damn birthday. A little karaoke action, which was intimidating as hell for me. I'm not good on the karaoke. I'm known for doing voices okay, but better than most. But I can't carry a tune in a bucket. I'm tone deaf. It's the weirdest fucking fluke weird ear. I can listen to Jason Statham talk for 3 seconds and do him flawlessly the rest of my life, but I cannot fucking sing. Do you know what I mean? Do you fucking know what I mean?
But can you do Jason Statham
Singing.
That's what you got to do. You got to do the impressions of people singing.
I could do talk singing.
Singing in the Rain by Jason Statham.
Yes.
I'm singing in the fucking rain.
Well done, sir.
Thank you. It just gets better. Oh, my ride's here. Gotta go. But our own Jason Antoon, who sadly for Sammy sat that very seat, and our lives will never be the same.
It's all right.
He kicked some serious ass.
Yes, he did.
Jamie did as well. She won't let us show the video, but I happened to shoot a little something on the iPhone. This is just for the live viewers. I just realized we're not going to get rights to the song. We'll probably have to cut this out for the iTunes.
Well, I don't know, because Kurt Smith is coming back on the show,
friend
so
of the
maybe
show.
he'll probably let us have it.
He co-owns this motherfucking song. All right, let's try it.
He might let us have it.
This is our own Jason Antoon. Little karaoke at Elaine's. Is that it?
No wrong.
Now he has a heart attack. He can't get his breath. The Mad Arabs. Those are nipple pinches, in case you're just listening. I'm not even sure what that was. And then, I think we lost touch with what day it was. Wait a second. A lot of that, making no sense. Nutty Professor. Wait a second.
Is he tying off?
He was tied off. By the way, he really is that crazy looking. It's not an effect from the video. And then he's getting tipped. This woman tipped him $1, and then, wait, yeah. Then she had to come in and do this to the $1. What's happening? What's going on? Anybody?
Are they playing just the tip?
They are playing. There you go, our own Jason Antoon, giving until it hurts. And I want to tell you something, ladies and Jews. She had that sold-out crowd of 62,009 on its collected foot singing Shout. KPCS is coming to Hulu, so I want to thank Elaine Ewing and our own Josh Negrin and Dr. Kenny Chen for busting ass the last several weeks, doing all the necessary editing and post-production, which we don't normally do with this show. We just do the fucking thing and put it out there, as you know. So I'll probably announce when we come back live November 6th, I think it is, with the Patrick Warburton to announce the official launch of the Hulu.com. I think we'll be up by then.
Wow.
We ask you constantly to please share with us how you do the show. You write to us at contact@KevinPollock'sChatShow.com. There's no C in Pollock, you son of a bitch. And then you tell us how you do the show. Do you listen? Do you watch? Do you download? Do you, in fact, bathe in the show? We've got, I think we're going to go to Ask Kevin. Yeah, Dr. Chen said, you didn't pull a good, how do you do the show? Every week we've been reading the emails. Right before the show started, he said, yeah, you don't have a good one. So we're going to go right to Ask Kevin. Please, write to us. Contact KevinPollock'sChatShow.com and tell us how you do the show. We read a great one last week. I'm sorry, you.
What?
Ask Kevin from Christopher H., Miami, Florida. Kevin and gang. One of the funniest parts of the show every week is the clip of David Koechner singing the T5 song, the Tweet 5 song. Sometimes during the week I fast forward through an old interview in the archive just to see that clip of him singing. But that's the kind of pain in the ass. But that's kind of a pain in the ass. Is there any way you could put the clip up on your website or YouTube channel so that I don't have to wait once a week to see it? Thanks, Christopher. With an odd, if not affected spelling of Christopher, by the way. Kristofer. Yeah, work on that, Christopher. P.S. Don't worry, the rest of the show is pretty good, too. Can we, in fact, load up
T5,
there it is.
T5 forever now.
His parents almost put him down when they first saw him as a baby.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, it's not surprising.
He almost put him down.
Not surprising.
They said, this kid is just too fucking goofy. We're going to put him down.
Yeah.
What do we have here? A Larry King game?
Oh, wait. Christopher we have some unfinished business.
Does he?
Yeah. Christopher.
Oh,
Go fuck
Sammy,
yourself.
you want to address? Yeah. Did you have
We're good.
something? You good?
Yeah, he forgot to let us know that he was going to fuck himself in advance
Oh.
on our behalf.
So you went ahead and told him.
Well, he needs to hear it from someone. How else will he learn?
I like the cut of your jib, Sam. The rest of it can take the rest of the minute off.
Very well.
Write to us again at KevinPollock'sChatShow.com. Ask Kevin, we will answer it. This one is from @farmer_87 on your Twitter. Kevin Pollak, are you fans of the Redbirds, sir? Oh, I tweeted something today about, or last night, maybe it's today, about Pujols and his 3 home runs in one game, tying Reggie Jackson and the Babe, the Babe Ruth, where the St. Louis Cardinals just got past the Texas Rangers by a score of 217-4.
I think it was 14-7.
My bad.
So it's not as if St. Louis, held him to just the one run.
Sammy, you're
They
very
gave up seven
upset
on their
about
own.
this.
Gave up seven
You're
on their
so
own.
upset. Let's play that clip last week of Sam's. Actually, it'll be in the future. It'll be as part of the Ivan Reitman pre-tape.
It will.
It'll be on next Sunday where you'll see Sam say Texas in 5.
And then you'll also see Kevin try to get me to put my money where my mouth is, and I refuse because that's how confident I am.
You couldn't get the correct odds.
No.
Texas in 5. St. Louis is up now 2-1. Texas in 5, mathematically impossible.
It is technically
All right,
mathematically
just checking.
impossible.
I didn't mean to rub that in your face, Sam. Yes, I did.
No, go right ahead. How are your Giants doing, by the way?
They won the World Series last year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You
What
can't
year?
win 2 years in a row.
What year? They can't?
Your team, by the way, the Cubs,
Yeah.
won back in 1908?
Correct.
Yes.
That's nicely done. Good for you.
Must be exciting for you every year.
It is very exciting. Very exciting Cubs news. I won't bore our fans with it, but they just made some
They just
big
made a
changes.
bigger. You acquired quite the talent.
We're changing. We're making some big moves.
Yeah, and St. Louis should go fuck themselves. Is that what you're saying, Sam?
Yeah, they should. It's not like I wish that their plane crashes
All right.
every time they travel
Let me
between
explain
cities.
something to the rest of you who may wonder what's gone wrong with our Sammy. It's not just the oldest rivalry in baseball. The Cubs and the Cardinals are the oldest rivalry in the history of sports. Now, some Irish soccer hooligans may argue with that.
Fuck
Their
that.
sport's been around longer. But
Fuck those guys. North American sport, at least.
yeah,
How about
I think that is the fact. And lastly, before we get to our guest, just another 14 minutes. We have a Larry King game.
Okay, he's taking a nap.
This
He's
one
fine.
from David from Tallahassee. David's won himself a T-shirt. David, I'm going to advise you to write us back at contact@kevinpollockschatcher.com. Give us your shirt size, you son of a bitch, and an address to ship the fucker to, and we'll do it. But David from Tallahassee offers up this Larry King game. Most people don't know that I married my current wife because during sex, she does a spot-on Marlon Brando impression. Nut Plains, Connecticut. You're up. That, believe it or not, is this week's winner. Imagine the really bad ones we had to get to turn down to
these are
give
just
that guy
hurting
the
me.
fucking T-shirt. If you want your own damn T-shirt, you don't have a Larry King to offer up, perhaps you want one of these fantastic mugs.
Can't have them.
Can't have one, but you can have a travel mug.
You can have a travel mug.
Yeah.
That mug does not ship. It does not survive.
We tried shipping these, and they break. They break like our dreams.
Speaking of shipping, I have to thank a fan of the
Yes,
show.
Jamie, please.
I have to thank Aaron Harlow, one of our fans, for sending me this amazing Harold Ramis plush, which I love.
From Ghostbusters 1 or 2?
1.
I'm going to say based on the glasses.
It's 1 because in 2 they had the blue uniform, right, Kenny?
The grayish.
They had
Yeah.
like the grayish blue
Uh-huh.
uniform, not the brown. This
And
is the
so
original.
you shared your absolute love for the movie and specifically Harold
Harold
Ramis.
Ramis. He's so cute.
And-
He's got a fluffy Jufro.
And
I love
Kenny, you've confirmed that the only way to get this thing is out of one of those fucking claw machines.
Yes.
You can't even buy it in a store. You can't find it online. So you want to thank Erin for spending at least $40 with the claw.
Somebody on eBay was selling it, got it out of a claw machine and was selling it. That's how she got it.
Oh, wow.
So.
What got out of the claw machine, sold it on eBay?
No, they're hot commodities.
This is the greatest,
the whole
country.
set, the whole series, which is like all 4 Ghostbusters, and then the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and Slimer is going for like $300.
I have no idea why the Nation of Islam hates us. It doesn't make any sense to me at all why Muslims want to burn us to the ground.
Why limit it to just the Muslims? It's the whole world.
Okay. And the French. Now I finally understand the French.
Right.
Yeah. No, I don't. All right. Oh, and thanks to the Gurin brothers for the fabulous chapeau. Go to Gurin.com. And the lovely pita pit. You know, if you're down in the Hermosa Beach, these fine sons of bitches send us pitas every week now.
You wanted to say pita
and we
pits,
love
didn't
them. We really do. If you're in the Hermosa Beach area, they're all over the country, damn it. But we especially love the one in the Hermosa Beach. As you know from watching the show or listening to it from around the world, our own Sam LaVine every now and then will bring up some show, something, and he can't really enjoy it because at some point he wanted to be a part of the show and it didn't work out. And a lot of entertainers throughout the centuries have this, my own self included, where something goes right for somebody else and it meant that things went wrong for you that same day. Well, about 6+ years ago, I had a deal at the FX network there to do a comedy, one that I created my own damn self along with some other allegedly talented people. And we were just about to shoot the damn thing, and the network got all hot and bothered about this half-hour comedy pilot. And they said, well, you should watch this, because we're putting this on. We love this. And we watched this thing, and I started weeping. I just started crying, thinking, well, we're fucked, because this thing is silly as hell and hilarious, and if this is what they want, they're going to flush our shit right down the toilet. And that's, in fact, what happened. And it took a couple of years for me to start celebrating just how wonderful the show is. And now, based on the amount of DVDs he can sign after the show, we'll get a little inclination as to what big fans we are at our homestead. I am thrilled beyond belief. Also, you should know this is I guess number 4 or 5, possibly 6, reached through the Twitter. Yeah. Somebody yelled at him on Twitter to come on the show, and then he said, all right. And then the Mutual Admiration League began. So I want to thank the Twitter for today's guest as well. And my first question, well, let's introduce him and then we'll get right to it. Ladies and Jews, please welcome Mr. Glenn Howerton III. Yeah. The 2 previous with the 2 N's?
The what?
The 2 previous Glenn Howertons?
Yeah, of course, it has to be.
It has to be.
You can't deviate from that, otherwise I wouldn't be the 3rd.
It wouldn't make sense at all.
Wouldn't make sense. No.
Were they also Glenn Franklin?
It has to be.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the whole name has to be the same in order to... That's my understanding of how it works.
I don't think we understood as not being first or second.
That's how it works.
Those are the rules.
Yeah. Not common in our culture.
Okay, really?
The Jewish
no,
culture.
Because you're not allowed to name your child
the living.
The living.
Yeah, we like to.
Otherwise, God will smite you, and
we like to be filled with pain, and that means to name things after dead. It makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, kind of. Yeah.
My first question, of course, based on the current public outcry, why does your wildly successful cable television program hate the Negro? What
is that
the
because
fuck? The episode before the last one, we were reading all kinds of fucking backlash horse shit. Like, really? This show you're gonna go after? This show that pretty much rips open everything and everyone.
Yeah.
Oh God. So you guys just laugh? What do you do?
I didn't get a lot of that. I mean, there were some people who were displeased with that episode, but I didn't get a lot of.
Well, what were their reasons?
I think they just didn't think it was very funny.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it. A lot of people didn't like the Frank's brother episode. My feeling is you win some and you lose some. I actually went out on Twitter after that because I You know, it's funny because my fellow castmates, that, you know, the few times I have gotten on Twitter and defended certain things, or at least responded to certain things,
Right.
you know, I try not to get defensive, but it is hard. You work hard on something, and Twitter's different. When you read like a blog or a post somewhere,
Right.
it's not directed at you.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're just like throwing it out there to other people who maybe saw the show, or
And they don't expect you to read it.
no, of course not. But on Twitter,
They know they got you.
they know when they put my name there that they're directing it towards me. They don't know that I'm going to read it.
Right.
But if I do read it, it is directed at me. So it's hard for me not to be like, you know, why are you're okay, fine. So every once in a while I'll respond, and my castmates are like, don't respond. You know.
Right.
My feeling though is that in order for us to take risks on the show, I think some episodes are going to work for some people, and some episodes are not going to
Oh,
work.
hell yes.
And
I mean, your show is all about risk. My God.
We try.
Danny DeVito was birthed out of a couch. What are we talking about here? I mean...
Yeah. We had a very specific image in mind for that scene. We said we want it to look like, you know, when you see like a video of a horse giving birth to another horse, or cow giving birth to a cow.
Right.
That's what we want it to look like. He should be covered in the slime and the what's the stuff that... Well, the placenta comes afterwards.
Embryonic fluid.
You're asking people...
Whatever the embryonic fluid is.
You're
thank
asking
you.
non-breeders, by the way.
Non-breeders.
You with the
Okay.
child.
Hey,
Wow.
just because none have come to full term doesn't mean
Nice.
I haven't.
Wow. That just happened.
That's dark.
Yeah. So you want him covered in goo.
Yeah, we wanted him to look like he was being birthed out of an animal's, you know, vagina. So
A giant animal in
Yeah.
the shape of a couch.
yeah,
Pretty much.
that was the idea. And sometimes that joke's going to land and it's going to be funny, and other times it's just going to be weird. Or some people, you know, inevitably the episodes. There are always episodes that are down the line funny for almost everybody, and then there's the occasional episode like last week's episode. Sorry,
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago was an episode
The brother, yeah.
where some people thought it was the most brilliant episode we've ever done, and some people were like, this is total trash. Go back to what I used to love the show, now I hate it. What has it turned into? I don't know. So whatever, we just try to do what we think is funny, and, you know, fuck you if you don't like it, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting a couple things from this that
Yeah.
I'm incredibly fond of. One is how much you care, which is wildly important and not the norm as 6 years into this successful juggernaut. You're always going to care, but to the level of caring what other people think. I mean, at some point, the amount of work that the three of you do in terms of you're constantly writing, shooting, or editing, it seems almost year-round, based on your dossier. One of the things I've noticed other people do on Twitter that I'm going to highly recommend for you, I think, it'll be a little cathartic, and you've probably seen this too. Anything negative comes your way, you just retweet it with no comment.
Oh yeah, that's
whatsoever.
great. I love that.
That's the
I am
greatest
a big
high
fan of
road.
that. I always forget to do that.
Yeah, me too. That's the
Smart.
greatest high road that Twitter has. It's like fantastic when I see people retweeting the most hate-filled tweet. Because your instinct is, don't retweet it because no one else who
I don't want people to see this.
No one's going
Right.
to see it. Only I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
Nor do I want them to know that they bothered me.
Yeah.
And then I realized when you retweet it, you're letting them know they didn't bother you.
Yeah,
And
I read it, and now I want everyone to read it.
Right.
It is. That's pretty smart.
That's what a worthless piece of shit you are.
Yeah.
At your mother's basement. My next question for you, sir, is we can continue the 60 minutes type of interview that I tried to craft. It took 132 episodes for me to try to do this. Your father, a decorated fighter pilot. You were born in Japan. I have to assume then he was a fighter pilot for the Japanese.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, American hero. That's what I meant to say.
A true American hero, yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. No, my dad is an American hero.
It's...
Yeah, no, all joking aside, my dad is a hard man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He must be so unbelievably proud of his half a fag show.
I thought you were going to say he's so incredibly disappointed in you.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, my dad, Glenn Franklin Howerton Jr., was a fighter pilot in the Air Force, decorated, and graduated from the Air Force Academy, a very prestigious academy, both for people who are awesome and shoot guns and fly airplanes, but are also very, very smart.
Right.
Because he was an officer. But my grandfather, Glenn Franklin Howerton Sr., was also a fighter pilot
Oh my goodness.
in the Air Force.
No pressure on you at all.
And he flew B-25 bombers in World War II. And then I decided to do musicals.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. No, but my grandfather he was also a jazz musician. And his
Holy
wife,
shit.
my grandmother, was a dancer. So there was always a lot of left and right brain stuff happening on that side of the family.
And then no desire whatsoever to actually try to get your pilot's license.
No, my dad actually offered to teach me to fly. Which I thought would be pretty cool, but I don't know. At the time, I wasn't interested in that. I kind of regret it actually. I think it'd be cool, because eventually I could be John Travolta, but not with a late night cable television show. You gotta like up your game a little bit before you can start flying your own airplanes. But
also, it's apparently never too late to take that sort of thing up.
I could do it. I could do it at some point.
My
yeah.
goodness.
I probably won't.
You feel pretty good.
No, I love the idea of, like, my dad flew A-10s. I love the idea of, flying a plane. I don't know that would be enough for me. I'd want to shoot at stuff.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
That
Like, I would
makes
want to
sense.
have that big Gatling gun on the front of the plane like my dad had.
Right.
And just, rip a tank in half while I'm flying.
Yeah. Now we're talking about setting up. Forget these. Let's go to the go-karts. Let's go to putt-putt golf. Mm-hmm. Let's go to fly the plane and shoot up a tank. Why does that have to be a video game? That should be a thing.
That should be a thing.
Yeah,
You should be able to do that if you have enough money.
Right.
Yeah. I
I
agree.
want it accessible by everyone.
Yeah.
We got to figure out a way to do it cheap.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'll tell you something. If you have the kind of money that some people have, I bet you could make arrangements for that to happen.
All right.
Somewhere out in the desert.
Yeah, our friends.
But you got to buy the tank. You got to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to buy all the stuff. Our friends just went on some wild, incredible thing in Africa with.
Well, they were hunted for sport.
But they were hunted for sport.
The
They
guy-
were the
the
prey.
guy-
They
The people
thought they were.
themselves?
Yes.
Yeah,
Can you pay for this?
They were invited. There was them and a bunch of other couples were invited to like this beautiful lush pad, and I was like, you do realize that you're going to be hunted for sport.
Yeah,
If
Like
this
that Ice-T
gentleman-
movie.
Yes. They were hunted for sport. Our
Yeah.
friends were.
Were you in that
But they
movie?
survived.
Surviving the game.
We did Ricochet.
Yeah.
We did Ricochet together.
Okay, I
You're
seem
not
to recall.
wrong.
I seem to recall, like in that
I thought Ice-T was in the Graceland movie.
the what?
9,000 miles?
3,000 miles of Graceland.
Was he in that too?
I'm getting the Ice-T confused with the Ice Cube, I think. They're two different people, right?
I did not work with the Ice Cube. I have done 3 solo CDs with Ice Tray.
Wow.
I'll be over here if you need me.
One of the lesser-known ices.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I did find this, listen, this sort of thing comes up because it's one of those anomalies when putting together dossiers on people. Living in Korea, London, by the time you're 10, and then the family moves to Montgomery, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So Korea, London, and then America,
Yeah.
basically.
Pretty much.
How unsettling was it at 10? You only know the world that you live in and that you're raised in.
Right.
You need an outsider to say you're so worldly at 10. Once you get to Alabama, you don't know what that means,
Right.
really. But was there this weird adjustment?
Yeah. Well, first of all of the clothes that I had at the time
Set
were
them on fire.
insanely out of style. You know what I mean? Like it was like I was getting. And my mom she didn't like to spend a lot of money on clothes, but luckily we were living in Korea, where people so it was like a world of knockoffs, but it was all knockoff stuff from like 5 years ago.
Sure.
So I was wearing like old knockoff shit from 5-6 years ago
Mm-hmm.
when I showed up to Montgomery, Alabama, and all of a sudden I wasn't on an Air Force base anymore. Like we decided we were going to stay there.
Right.
So I was going to a regular school instead of an Air Force Base school where all the kids were used to constantly, a new class filled with new people, and I'll just make friends with, everybody there had been going to school together since they were in kindergarten, and I show up in 5th grade,
Wearing clothes from Back to the Future.
Yeah, basically. It was a little awkward. Yeah. A little cliquey in the South, a little cliquey.
So
little
that
cliquey.
naturally went right to theater.
Well, no, that took a little while before I got to that, but I found my niche.
Did you play the sports? Did you have
I did.
an inkling?
I did. I played. I was not a thespian. You know what I mean? I wasn't in the Glee Club, and I wasn't.
Not till you got to university with that sort of thing.
Then I realized that I would watch the people that were in the plays and the musicals, and I was like, that's not good enough.
No.
That's not good enough. I can do better. And
They're not getting it right.
it was about besting people more than it was about actually having a passion. It was about proving that I'm better than they were at something that they proposed to be, good at.
Right. That's what you got from the old man.
Well, what I actually realized though was that because I did play sports, I played everything. I played tennis, basketball, football. I mean, I was like really.
You were athletic.
I wanted to be a jock. I was very athletic, and I wanted to be a jock. And what I realized was that I was only ever sort of good at all those things.
I suffered from sixth man on the six-man golf team, fifth man on the five-man tennis team.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah, I was never really big enough in high school to play football. I tried, and I was just getting squashed, and and then I started doing theater, and I was like, this is pretty sweet. And there weren't a lot of guys there,
Mostly chicks.
but there were a lot of hot chicks there.
Yeah. The more guys get into the field of the acting to chase the skirt
For the broads,
or chase the cock. It works both ways.
it does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. And both are readily available to you.
As it turns out.
I mean, it's a smorgasbord. You know what I mean? You get there and you're like, well, do I want a cock today, or what do I want?
Maybe just some Jello.
It's all. And if you're a straight guy, somewhat good looking, you can have it all.
Yes.
Because
They make that clear.
yeah.
Don't they? Did you do Godspell?
I never did Godspell.
All right. That seemed like a prerequisite for most of our guests thus
I did
far.
Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
I'm going to need to hear a little more about that, please. Yeah.
I was working at a summer camp.
I'll say.
Yeah, and I was actually coaching basketball at the summer camp.
To the Jews.
Yeah, there were a lot of Jews there. Yeah, they were mostly Jews. It was a Jewish-owned camp, and it was in upstate New York. And yeah, there were a lot of Jews.
In the Poconos? How'd they pronounce it?
And it was in the Catskills, so it was not in the Poconos.
Poconos.
Baltimore?
The Poconos?
Yeah, it sounds like Baltimore.
That's also Philly.
Is
Yeah.
it? Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's also Philly.
Yeah.
And they found out, but I at the time I was actually going. This was my summer job. I was doing it just to make money, and I was doing it to get away from theater because I was going to college for theater, and I wanted to do something different. So I was like, I'll go coach basketball this summer. Cool. So I was coaching basketball, but then they found out that I was in theater. And they said, hey, can you help us assistant direct this kids show? And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds cool. I've never directed before, so I did that. And then they had a staff show. They wanted to do a staff show where they literally rehearse a show for 1 week and you perform it at the end of the week. And they cast me as Joseph in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And I nailed it. And then they pulled me into the theater program from there forth, and I was no longer
you're done.
allowed to coach basketball,
Nope.
which I had no business doing to begin with.
Well, then things worked out. Kind of.
Yeah.
And also you got to keep the coat, I'm sure.
The Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat? I didn't even ask.
Oh, man. It took you years before you started demanding to keep the wardrobe.
Exactly. Didn't know that at the time.
Talking about your father and passing on the name, it stops with you. I understand you've named your newborn Little Baby Alien Grandpa Creature.
Uh-oh. I thought about it. That's what he looked like.
I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah.
This is your first, and this is unbelievably exciting. 6 weeks old or something?
Yeah, he's 6 weeks. He's 6 weeks tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah.
Holy Toledo.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Is it?
It is. It is, and truth be told, like everybody, I always look tired, so that now I have an excuse. People are like, "Oh man, yeah, you look tired," and I'm like, "Oh, thanks." That's always a nice thing to say to somebody, but they can say it to me now because I'm a dad, and they know with newborns, like
now you can own it.
Yeah,
yeah.
But the truth is, I'm actually getting quite a bit of sleep.
Aha.
I don't know.
You sleep right through that alarm thing going, the monitor.
Yeah. I don't have to feed him.
Right. Right.
You know
you
what I mean?
can't.
I can't.
Don't.
Actually, that's not true.
Okay.
I could. That's a little known fact. Men can lactate.
Yes. It's
Men
an
can
enzyme
lactate.
released in the brain.
Yes.
That produces the milk.
That's correct. That we do. So yes, there is a biological reason for us to have nipples.
That's good news.
It is.
But I think the mother is filling up naturally, and according to fiction, what I've seen in the television and in the movie, there is a draining process where they're filling up so much. There's too much to go around.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. A lot
so
of times.
maybe you want to let her do it.
No, I do.
I think that's the beauty.
I have no, yes, I absolutely want her to do
So what you're saying is you could, but it's really out of a deference to your wife.
But you don't want to say that like to her. It's like, well, I could.
I could.
You know
I could chip in here.
She's like, you can't even do this. I'm like, yeah, I could. I could.
Yeah, probably better.
Yeah, I might even be able to do it better than you.
Yeah, try
like
that.
all those theater kids.
Try that one when you get home.
See if that works out.
Miami is where you studied in the theater and the university.
I did. I went to school for 2 years in Miami.
Yeah. I'm assuming under the Let's Get Laid.
Scholarship program. Yeah, it was the Let's Get Laid scholarship program, which...
Well, I also like there is that you were about to follow this aeronautical engineering.
I was. Where'd you get this stuff?
No, please.
Ooh, let's dig deep, baby.
And your parents were like, you know what? You're more of a theater jerk. You should really...
My parents were actually very supportive of me doing the theater thing and the acting thing. I was actually signed up for classes at Auburn University in Alabama to go into aeronautical engineering. I like the idea of building airplanes. Mm-hmm. Maybe one day flying them. But I got a full scholarship to a school in Miami to a theater program, and my mom actually sat me down and she said, I think if you really want to become an aeronautical engineer, there's always time for you to do that, but do you think maybe you would regret or think, ooh, I should have at least tried becoming an actor if you don't try this first?
It's amazing.
And I think it was partly that, and I think it was also partly the full scholarship thing.
Yeah. Sure.
But they paid for me to live in Miami, but my school was paid for, so I was like, go to Miami and just do theater for a couple years, see how it works out. Yeah, sure, I'll try that.
Yeah.
So
and listen, after the Dreamcoat.
This was pre-Dreamcoat.
Oh, right. The Dreamcoat.
That came later.
After you got to Miami.
Yes.
Ah, I see.
Yes.
All right, I got my chronological order there fucked up a little bit.
Dreamcoat came later, yeah.
But before Julliard. Certainly the Dreamcoat was...
No, Dreamcoat was post-Julliard, too, because...
Wow.
No, I'm sorry, you're right.
All right.
It was the summer before Julliard that I did Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and then the next summer...
So clearly you used that as your submission tape to Julliard. You showed them the production of the Dreamcoat.
They wouldn't have, they're so there that they would have, turned their noses up at that. They don't even have a musical theater program at Julliard.
Is that right? It's just a dramatic Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, a lot of Shakespeare, a lot of the Russian plays and anything pretentious.
Right. Was that your experience there?
The more pretentious, the better. If you'd asked me this 10 years ago, I'd have said I had a great experience at Julliard. And the truth is I actually did have a good experience there, but I get in a lot of trouble for this. I don't think they do a good enough job at that school telling you when to use the tools that they teach you there and when not to.
Right. They're teaching a very specific bag of tools.
They're teaching you how to do Shakespeare and regional theater. And then the kids that are coming out of there are using those Shakespeare and regional theater tools and going into auditions for sitcoms on ABC. And it's fucking ridiculous. They sound ridiculous. They look ridiculous and they sound ridiculous.
Right.
And it's not preparing them for real life skills beyond regional theater and Shakespeare theater.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Harvard, if you're going to drop a name, of studying drama. Juilliard.
It is. That's what they say. It's a very good program. A lot of the stuff that I learned there was, I learned some amazing tools there, and then over the course of the next 10 years after I graduated, I had to learn how to completely dismiss all of those tools.
Stop using the tools.
And go back to everything that I was when I first came to the school before I learned anything.
Isn't that fantastic?
That's the truth, yeah.
Yeah. I was also surprised to see that you met the fellas first in New York before you guys were all out here and started messing around with the so-called home movies.
Yeah.
But you actually kind of became friendly.
We knew each other because we were all the same age and we were going out for the same roles. So I used to see those guys at all my auditions. Around. Yeah. So every audition I'd go to, I'd see them and everybody else that was in that same age bracket who actually had an agent.
What was your first sense of a Charlie Day? What was the
Of Charlie, I didn't get. Again, I didn't. It's just I just saw him there, so I don't know. I mean, I remember seeing him in commercials and thinking, "Oh, nice, he's making a living." I didn't really have a sense of the guy at the time, and I really didn't get a sense of either one of those guys until we moved to LA and started hanging out.
And I couldn't quite get from the dossier whether you came out. Obviously, you didn't move out together as a pack, but more or less sort of became closer friends once you were all out here.
Yeah,
it was a smaller group of.
Yeah, basically what happened was I moved out to LA to do a short-lived Fox sitcom called That '80s Show.
Topher Grace's cousin?
Yeah, it says that on my IMDb page. I don't know where the fuck that is. That's complete fabrication.
No relation whatsoever.
Not to my knowledge, no relation whatsoever.
Yeah, there's 7 movies I've done on IMDb that I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
See, those are movies that you never even did.
I think if you send someone a script, it ends up on IMDb. A script and an offer, and then the producers go, "Hey, we got."
Beefs up your page, makes you look cool.
So it wasn't even a spin-off. They just kind of used the name.
Correct.
Ah,
yeah.
Nice.
It was the same. It was some of the same writers and executive producers, but that was about it. And around the same time, both those guys moved out to LA. Actually, Charlie, the first time I ever really had a conversation with the guy was at the test for That '80s Show. He tested to play my best friend on the show. And interestingly enough, we had the same agent, and I offered to drive him back to the hotel after the test. I got a call from my agent saying I got the role.
Aye.
And then I said, and then I said, I'm here with Charlie. He just tested too. And she goes, oh, shit, all right, put me on with Charlie. I proceeded to tell him he didn't get the part.
Which is only funny now.
But it's only funny
Wasn't
in
funny
retrospect.
then.
Yeah,
No, it was horrible then.
It was kind of funny. I was laughing a little bit on the inside. 'Cause I didn't fucking know the guy. I was like, yeah, that sucks for you, dude.
Yeah. And he was getting commercials.
Yeah, he was fine. He was fine. He was also the voice of the IFC channel at the time. He was doing like all the, interestingly enough, back then, if you can even get this, that's his voice doing, next up on IFC, blah, 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 blah. That was him.
Nice impression, by
Blah,
the way.
blah, blah, blah,
Jamie,
blah,
do you
blah.
have a Charlie you want to throw out there for us? We're offering up our own versions of Charlie. You want to give it a shot here? I've heard you do it.
I don't think I want to get into this.
Okay, good.
It's kind of like if Charlie was Larry David. It's just too. It's too easy. It's too easy. It's like I don't know. Yeah, and I don't know. We started. Jimmy Simpson. Do you know Jimmy Simpson by any chance? As an actor, he plays Liam McPoyle on our show. He's one of the McPoyle brothers. And the other guy, Nate Mooney, he's the other McPoyle brother. And David Hornsby plays cricket on our show. And Charlie, the 4 of them knew each other really well in New York City, and they made a lot of home movies there. And we would sit and watch their home movies, and they were so funny that they kind of inspired us. We were like, we want to start making some movies too. And it was really kind of Rob's initial idea to do a really dark scene where a guy goes over to his friend's house to borrow sugar for his coffee. And the friend, who's not even that close of a friend, who's really more of a neighbor, tells him he has cancer. And the guy really all he wants to do is grab the sugar and get the fuck out of there. He's got a pot of coffee at home. He just want to listen to this guy tell him he has cancer, and So it started from that, and it was just like a scene we shot, and then we fleshed it out into a whole episode, and then next thing you know, we had a show. I mean, there's a lot more in between there, but it's just a story we've told so many times. I feel like, yeah.
But I mean, the idea though that you guys were pretty much doing it to entertain yourselves and stay busy.
Yeah.
These home movies. It was a way to fuck off and be creative.
Yeah.
In no way, shape, or form were you like, let's do this because it'll lead to that.
I mean, I think we thought maybe one of these things that we do will be turned into it will be the seed for something bigger.
Right, but you'd been around long enough to know that the odds of the talented actors who were auditioning and unknown, creating their own television show, were worse than winning the lottery. I mean, truly
Kevin,
ridiculous.
No, we didn't know that. No, I'm serious. We really, in our minds, we were like, we're going to be famous.
Here's the great news. You didn't know anyone famous at the time who would have said to you,
No,
you can't do this.
No, although I was friends with Topher Grace at the time, and I asked Topher to do the home movie with us, and he just, because we actually shot 2 of them. We shot an episode 1 and an episode 2, and I asked him to be in episode 2, and I showed him episode 1, and he was like, "This is really funny. This is really good." And I said, "Yeah, just do this little thing. You know, it'll be really funny." And because in the home movies we were playing ourselves, so I was the guy from that '80s show, you know, trying to in the episode I was trying to get my friend Topher Grace, who was on that '70s show, to do something for me, and he, you know, he basically said, he said, "Well, you know, I just did a show. I don't want to do anything that's TV related." It was basically probably his way of saying, "I don't want to be in your fucking home movie. I'm a giant star." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, which I respect. I was like, I get it. I get it. But no, in our minds, we were like, this is going to be great, and if this doesn't work out, something else will. And no, we had no idea. And this by the time, in our minds, we were like, a couple of guys creating their own television show for no money whatsoever is genius. I've never seen that. You know, people have been shooting short films and things like that for no money with their own cameras and their own equipment, yada, 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 for a long time, but nobody is shooting television shows like this. This was before YouTube. It really was. It was like maybe a year before YouTube actually came out and people started watching it. So,
but anyone with any experience, if I had run into you guys,
of course,
and you told me you were doing this, I would say, fellas.
And a lot of people did tell us that. They did.
This is fantastic, but don't embarrass yourselves.
Don't expect this
by
to go
showing
anywhere.
it to anyone,
right?
Or telling your agent that you want meetings at a network.
Mm-hmm.
You need a showrunner. You need a network-approved showrunner.
And that's what they told us.
Yeah. And also, that network-approved showrunner is going to have a healthy enough ego that they're going to actually want to be involved in the creating of the show.
Yes.
Because the created by credit tends to be the one that brings in the back end.
Right.
And I remember first seeing the show, and doesn't Rob have a separate... You guys all share an executive producer thing, and then doesn't he have a separate thing?
Yes. Here is the story that you'd never hear.
All right.
Here's the story, because we actually
we're out of time. This is horrible. I can't believe you're here. And sorry.
Rob created the initial thought of these people getting in this kind of a situation. Right?
Meaning the bar, hanging out at the bar.
No, actually, the show initially was about 3 actors. It was very inspired by Curb Your Enthusiasm. Honestly, it was shot the same way. He wanted to do a show. The show evolved into these 3 actors,
out of
semi-successful, mostly out of work guys with too much time on their hands.
Right.
Who are constantly in competition with each other over the same roles. Oh. Those are the initial characters.
Right.
So that was, and Charlie and I had never written anything before. He'd written a couple screenplays, so he was like, "I'm going to go off and I'm going to actually turn that scene that we shot into an episode of a television show." Great. So he wrote the first episode. So he basically created the show, and Charlie and I then, from that point, helped him sort of see it into a whole thing.
Sure.
Right. So that's why it's like, and initially Charlie was actually, the reason it's actually broken down is like the 3 of us are executive producers, developed by Glenn and Rob, created by Rob, and you know, in retrospect, we really didn't need to break it down that specifically, but that is what happened. Rob brought the idea to me. I helped him flesh it out into a whole thing. He and I were the ones that put the whole home movie together.
Right.
And then Charlie became very crucial to the whole process once he was acting in it, and once we started doing the second episode. And then once it became a real show, we realized, you know, the 3 of us are going to be a lot stronger as a team than just the 2 of Rob and I, or just Rob.
Yeah,
So
and in the dossier it says something about either all 3 of you or at least 2 of you had the same manager at the time. Is that?
All 3 of us had the same manager,
Yeah, I thought that was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, which is another, you know, people are like, well, how did you get it to, you know, we just brought it to him, and he is with 3 Arts Entertainment.
Somebody at 3 Arts said, you know, I could probably show this to the right people.
Yeah.
This is better than...
Well, he showed it to, our manager showed it to his boss, who's one of the partners there.
Right.
He really responded to it, liked it. And,
Is that the Rotenberg?
The Rotenberg, the Michael Rotenberg, who you probably know.
I've known the Rotenberg for years.
Of course.
We go back to hiding matzah. I'm over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he probably said, shit, let's show this to somebody.
I don't know why they showed it to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, I'm even surprised to say that when you saw it, you were like, "Oh well, let's hang up our shit. This show's going to be huge." Like,
well, we were basing that on
I don't know. I mean,
Landgraf's
reaction
take on
to it. Okay.
His take on it. He had already begun sipping, swallowing, and selling the Kool-Aid that was this show.
So does it hurt you inside to know how little we thought of the whole thing and how offhand the whole thing was for us when you were pouring your heart and soul into your TV show?
That went nowhere?
And being, kind of a movie star, and,
A little bit.
right?
A little bit. In my
These
mom's
guys come
eyes.
out of nowhere and they're like, yeah, we just did this fucking thing, check it out. I don't give a shit. You guys want to do it? No? Yeah? Okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden.
And now here's the amazing side. You guys turned into Careful What You Wish as writers, actors, producers, editors.
Yeah.
Now it's all on you.
It was trial by fire in a major, major way.
Yeah.
I had never written a script or anything besides like a paper in high school in my life.
And not terribly well, the paper in high school.
No, it was pretty good.
Okay. All right.
Good stuff. It was pretty. I wrote good papers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I had some good essay moments.
Nice.
Sure.
Did you have a favorite writer coming up as a youngster?
I didn't read stuff.
Really?
What am I reading?
Why?
No.
You're going to build planes.
No. I mean, I just it was all so surreal.
Right.
And it was just like,
You were enjoying the hell out of the acting. Clearly.
I was, yeah. And I've always thought in those bigger terms. I've always wanted to have more control, but I never thought that I would actually have that kind of control. I just thought, well, maybe one day after I'm established, then
I'll get a production company. This is what people do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's how I was at FX at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I went the stupid traditional route.
Yeah.
And apparently, all you had to do was fall asleep with the camera on.
The camera on, and
And then you wake up and you go, God, we were hilarious last night.
Your show was probably quite expensive, though.
Oh my.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know.
And our show, they were like, well, these guys, we could probably do this.
Yeah.
For $300,000, and
Yeah.
For people out there who don't know how much TV shows cost, like doing a pilot for $300,000 is like
Add a zero,
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Add a zero, and then that's what pilots usually cost.
Right.
So they knew they could get us at a cost too.
Yeah.
And they knew that they
And
could
also,
swindle
they
us.
were just you were their first half-hour comedy. I mean, they had
Son of the Beach.
Right. They did something with the guy who
Lucky.
Oh, John Corbett.
Yeah. Right? Is that what you were
wasn't
saying?
a bad
there
show.
was another
sorry.
guy who.
Oh, yes. This on the same year as us.
Yes.
Yeah, Starved.
Right. The guy out of New York who did the movie with Sarah Jessica Parker.
Right. I'm forgetting his name. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. Sorry if you're watching this, buddy.
I'd like to go on record that I was never really a fan of his, and thought he was one of them. I don't know that he ever passed a reflecting device and didn't stop. That was the feeling I got. Amir.
I'm trying to help me. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Anywho.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So,
I hear you.
but I mean, with your show sort of represented this new foray into comedy.
Yes.
For the network. So they didn't have a lot of money to spend. I mean, it really was a perfect storm of all these elements.
It was.
And this fresh take you guys had on, which allowed their marketing department to go, this is youthful. This is a younger audience. We want that very, very much.
Mm-hmm.
This is like turning a show like Friends completely and utterly on its ear. It's also kind of a little sick and twisted in the dialogue and the personalities, which makes it a bit of a dark horse. I mean, they had so little to lose. And then you guys just fucking delivered. I mean,
it was pretty forward-thinking of them.
Truly.
To do something like this, because it really was...
Let's look back through... I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's all hitting me. Let's look back through the history of television and find another show that started this way. Wait, it hasn't happened. Mm-hmm. I mean... When Seinfeld went and said, I want Larry David to run the show, the network said, whoa, no. This failed comedian friend of yours is not going to run a fucking network show. That's about as close as I think we've ever come to something like this.
Yeah, maybe. Well, and we went down that road for a little bit.
With another showrunner.
Well, we were trying to have like a more established producer or production company come on board to help legitimize the show in a way, I guess.
Right.
But that was taking so long that we eventually said, you know what, fuck that. This is our show. We don't want to give anybody any of our money, any of the little bit of money we're probably going to make. We don't want anybody. We quite frankly don't want to hear what anybody has to say.
Yeah, who do you want notes from at this point?
FX actually gave us smart notes that we felt like, and there were a couple of other networks that wanted to do the show, but they were the only ones that we felt understood what we were trying to do.
Right.
Because the notes they gave us seemed to push us further in the direction that we were trying to go in already, as opposed to other notes that we were getting from the other networks that were interested in the show that were like, well, we like this, but can you do it this way instead? And FX was going, we like what you guys are doing, but we think you need to do more this. And we really felt like, we were like, oh, okay, that's actually a better version of what we're already trying to do. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
the other networks were like, could you turn the tranny into a practical joke and not a real tranny?
I don't even I don't even remember what their thoughts or their notes were. I do remember thinking, well, they want to put more music in it, and they want to cut, you know, and they want to spice it up and jazz it up, you know. And we're like, no, it's not. That's not what we're doing, you know. This is a niche show.
Yeah,
we'll make it for little money, and it'll be a niche show.
I do remember just seeing that first one, and there was almost this. It wasn't just unpolished. It was as raw as what we're seeing more of now in Louis C.K.
Yeah.
And certainly Curb does a version of, and has for a number of years, that creating an uncomfortable scenario for everyone to stew in.
And our show initially was, I would say, more what Louis is now initially, and what Curb was, and I pretty much continued to be. Early on, our show was more that, and then it just, you know, it had to change because it's just who we are, you know. And initially, we were so influenced by Curb and by the BBC Office, and we wanted to do that. We were like, well, this is funny. This is different. I've never seen this. I want to do this. I want to do our version of this. You know, and then like many artists or many people, we did that, and then we were like, okay, that's funny, but now it inevitably had to become then wholly ours and not derivative of anything else.
And it did.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that you guys were sort of self-aware at the time to make that turn.
It was.
I mean, I don't know if it was a discussion.
It wasn't a discussion.
Right. It was just evolution.
It was just evolution. Yeah. And you know, and some people had a problem with it. You know, some people were like, "Oh, you bring Danny DeVito on," and all of a sudden, you know, I mean, I remember doing season 3 too, because season 3 we said, because season 2 was very different from season 1, and then in season 3 we were like, all right, how far can we go with this kind of shit? And we started doing some very bizarre things in season 3, and I think at times we succeeded, and I think at times we did that thing where people say you jumped the shark, but in our minds we were like, well, I remember us saying in season 3, we were like, let's jump the shark as early as possible, so that people can say we can never say that we jumped the shark. Let's just fucking start jumping sharks all over the place and just see what happens. You know, and if we don't like it, then we'll scale it back. But if we think it's funny, we'll, you know.
Yeah.
Fuck it. We'll just do whatever
Well, you did establish a foothold in season 3 that was, the challenge for us now is to see how silly the premises can be while maintaining our characters' integrity and point of view.
I appreciate you saying that. As very, very important to us.
Yeah.
You know, all jokes aside, we put a tremendous amount of effort into not selling our characters out for a joke.
There's no character assassination, and it's one of the great things. I mean, what's exciting to funny people who enjoy the show, the conversations that I'm hearing and having, are the character integrity, and also the insistent you must have in the creative process when you guys get together to work on the scripts initially, to continue to just sort of challenge yourselves with how silly the premises can be. There's no limit.
While still justifying, because our thing is like, how far can we go while still justifying the behavior in the minds of the character?
Right.
Because that's our golden rule on the show that we always follow is the audience has to believe that the character believes that what he's doing is going to work. Because the minute the audience stops believing that the character would believe that what he's doing is going to work, I know it sounds a little convoluted, but the second the audience doesn't believe it, I think you're fucked. I think
it's the Ralph Cramden principle, if I may.
It's just, I didn't watch that stupid fucking show.
Well, let me tell you.
Don't bring up honeymooners references around me. I'm not that guy. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
No, there's, it's true, though, and it probably is in Shakespeare. I mean, it's probably all throughout, because you have to root for the character. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of wonderful thing about what you guys know that you're doing, or as you continue to maintain that integrity.
I think that's the only way you can root for characters that are despicable, as our characters are on the show, is that you have to understand why they're doing what they're doing. Even if what they're doing is ridiculous and you would never do it, you have to understand why they're doing it. If you don't understand why they're doing it, then you're just going to be like, well, then they're just, why would you ever do that? That doesn't make sense. And that's part of the fun of the show for us is the conversations that the characters have, justifying their behavior. That's funny. That's comedy. I think that's funny.
Right.
That's one of the most fun things to me about the show, solving that problem. How can I get my character to believe that this is going to work?
Yeah.
Solving that problem that's the fun part.
Jamal, do you want to offer up any, from the fans' perspective, any questions about any stories or storylines from the series or characters? Because I remember there's just been various moments. Was it the Rat Bat? There's just various things that didn't last around the house.
No, Charlie Kelly, King of the Rats. That was last season.
For then like 6 weeks around the house. That's the only thing that's happening.
It's very much like that every week. Like whatever happens that week.
And then what was the?
I was thinking this morning. It was yesterday. I think I went to J-Mac. I went over to his guest house and I just started cracking up. He's like, "What are you laughing at?" I'm like, "Remember when they were drinking wine out of a Coke can and then they were all like chow mouth? They had like their teeth were staying in there." That was killing me.
Yeah.
They're like, I think it was D. He was like, "I had this great idea. We're just going to drink wine out of Coke cans, and everyone's going to think that we're just drinking soda all day." Meanwhile, they were drinking red wine, which is like the most visible drunk.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
I don't know when or how this happened, but we just started like inventing stuff like on the show, like weird, day man, night man, weird things like Charlie eating something he calls milk steak and with a side of jelly beans and like it's like I don't know.
Charlie's Diary, is that what?
Oh yes. Oh no, it's Dream Journal.
Dream Journal.
It's just gibberish and like drawings.
Dream book. Yeah.
One was like a chicken with
worm hat.
Worm hat. Yeah, we're trying to figure out.
But it ended up being Vermhoot or something.
Vermhoot.
Hans Vermont. Hans Vermont. Yeah, who flies a biplane and shoots at him while he's running. I don't fucking know, man. I don't know where.
Are you swearing under oath that there's no drugs and alcohol involved when these stories are hatched? Can you say that everyone is completely sober when the stories are hatched?
I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm sober when we're coming up with this stuff.
Okay. And how much of a jam session takes place, as it were, before anything is put to page? I mean, are you guys breaking stories and trying to make each other laugh the first couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about that. It's all about trying to make each other laugh because we know, because it's a tough crowd. Like our writers' room is a pretty tough crowd. Hard to surprise people in our room.
And at this point, it obviously can't just be the three of you. Still, you've got a full staff.
Yeah, we have. It's a small staff of hooligans, man. I mean, but really, really smart, funny people that we've got on our staff.
Right.
And
challenging each other, obviously, to beat
constantly. Yeah. Constantly challenging each other. Constantly coming up with the most bizarre shit you can possibly imagine.
Speaking of which. I was curious. Let's see, where did I put these references? With episode titles like Mac Bangs Dennis's Mom, Who Pooped the Bed, and Charlie Goes American All Over Everybody's Ass.
Which I think is my favorite episode.
That is your favorite
Charlie
episode.
Goes America?
Yeah.
Yes.
What titles are rejected? With titles like those?
Okay, well, that's a good question. I think the only title that we've I don't think the network's ever rejected a title.
No, you guys. I meant you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
what title's too ridiculous in the room?
Nothing's too ridiculous.
Right.
The only time something crosses the line is if we feel like we as the creators are being offensive. I'm okay with the character being offensive and ignorant. I don't like the idea of us as creators and writers being offensive in the sense that I don't like. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to be hurtful.
Yeah.
I don't want to demean people who have a certain point of view or anything like that. I don't think that's funny, and I don't think it's interesting, and I don't think it's necessary. So we had I think we were still at a point where we felt like using the word retard wasn't offensive, and then so there were some conversations about that because we were doing an episode where Sweet D dates a mentally handicapped person, let's say. And originally, I think the name of the episode was Sweet D Dates a Retard. And we realized that that just doesn't sound good. That doesn't sit right. But Sweet D Dates a Retarded Person, I think I fought for that. I'm putting my neck on the line now. But like, because I felt like by the definition of what a retard is.
But that's their vernacular. That's why it kind of makes sense to me.
Is it still? I don't know.
Title,
I don't think calling somebody a retarded person is. You can't do that, right? That's not considered.
Technically,
no.
That's not cool,
the
right?
characters.
Oh, the
vernacular.
characters vernacular.
Yeah.
But see, that's that line of like.
That was what I was curious about.
Because the characters aren't creating the title of the show. We are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But the titles to me do feel like, as I was going through them, the titles do feel like they were written by the characters, or that they were excerpts of dialogue by the characters.
That is what they are.
Mac bangs Dennis's mom.
Yeah.
Is something. Did you hear Mac bang Dennis's mom? I mean, that's.
Yeah. Yeah. Initially, well, and I guess to some degree still, we always like the idea of when you cut to the title of the show.
It's a laugh.
You get a laugh. That's a joke. That's a punchline in and of itself.
It is every time.
Yeah, so
I mean, it's got to be a point of pride for you because it's certainly working for the fans and the viewers. Mm-hmm. It's something to look forward to.
And it's just there was something so straightforward and honest, and just like Mac bangs Dennis's mom. That's what this episode is about. And it's not cute. It's just, hey, this guy fucked this dude's mom. There you go.
But it also becomes for writers. It's like beat the joke. It's like we need to figure out the funniest way to say what this episode is about.
Yeah.
That's kind of hinted to in the cold opening or whatever you call the pre-title portion. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a pretty fun, crafty design you've got going.
Yeah. And if you don't know, if you haven't seen, if the title comes up and you haven't seen that yet,
right,
then it lets you know what you're about to see.
Right.
What's about to happen.
Sure.
Which I think is fun too, because you said, well, how's that going to happen? How's that going to play out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the one with the pool, the empty pool.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Jamie, yeah.
Yeah. What, the title?
It was because of the public pool. They didn't want to go to the public pool, but of course, like Frank loved the public pool because it was really seedy. And then, yes.
Yeah. There's a whole lot going on in that pool, as I remember by the.
Yeah.
By the end.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I mean
It's I think something really interesting and fun has happened with our show in that initially they spent so little money on the show and it was such an experiment.
Right.
And FX's MO has always been, let's get really smart, funny, or not even funny, but let's get really smart creators of shows and let them make the show that they want to make. And let's not fiddle with it too much. Let's try to figure out what they're trying to do and if anything, try and make it better. But they're not constantly trying to change people's visions for shows. And I think that's why people really respond to that network, and they've carved out their own niche in that way.
Right.
They really let us go off, and they didn't have a lot riding on it, so they let us do it. And it worked, and so now the precedent was set early on. Just let these guys, just let them go,
And I even read initially they were sort of pushing you when you weren't sure you guys weren't sure how far you could go.
Yeah.
The network's initial response in the first season, the first was seven episodes, the first season, something like that, was, you keep going, as opposed to pull back.
Absolutely. Initially they were constantly pushing us to go
And
further.
then the beautiful side also is that you guys aren't held back by previous experiences of your own as showrunners and writers. You only know what you've experienced on this show.
That's right.
That's astounding, creatively speaking.
Yeah, that it worked is pretty miraculous. That we didn't screw it up somehow, and that we even knew how to structure an episode of a television show, let alone 7 seasons worth, is nothing short of miraculous. I don't know how it happened.
Rob clearly read some books.
You know, Rob would be more likely to write a book before read one.
I see.
He's just that way. I mean, he is definitely of that school of thought of like, I'm gonna figure out how to get the job that I want by manipulating people, and then I'll figure out how to do the job. And you know,
Like he thought of it.
If he had not been on our team, then we've never had this show, because Rob can sell you your own pants. You know what I mean?
The ones I'm wearing?
He could sell you those pants to you.
Right. You want to keep those, don't you?
Yeah.
He would say.
He would just figure out how to do it. You know what I mean? He has the Jedi mind trick.
So he came up with I'm going to gain 60 pounds before he thought it through.
And no, he thinks things through. He thinks things through. Yeah.
How did you find out first that he had hatched this?
Well, he came to me and he said, I had this idea that I think we should all do initially.
Okay.
You know, and he said, I think
Did he forget who he was talking to? Initially?
I don't know how much hope he actually had that we were going to be on board with doing this, because I was like, my biggest fear about this is that it's going to be so gimmicky.
Right.
You know, him getting fat is just going to look like a gimmick. And he was like, and this is why I love Rob, because he goes, I don't give a fuck what people think. I think it's funny. And I was like, and that's why we love you, man, because that's what we've always done from the beginning. It's like, the minute does conversations come up about, well, are people going to think that we're doing this? Are people going to think that? And then it always comes down to, who fucking cares what people think? I don't give a shit. And it's not that we don't care ultimately.
No,
it's
of
that we can't think that way. Because who knows what people are going to think? You can't predict what people are going to think.
No, and that's also getting back to the way we started this. When they come at you on the Twitter, either retweet it and let them fall on their own petard, or truly, like you get with reviews, you don't read the good ones, you don't read the bad ones, you don't read it.
I read them all. I read them all. I've come to terms with the fact that there's no fucking way I'm going to be able to stop myself. I'm going to read them.
Right.
So I may as well just fucking read them. Rob doesn't read them. You know, he's like, I don't need that shit. He takes the same, but he's like, well, you know, you read the good. And that's what I used to say, but then I would turn around and fucking read them anyway.
Right.
So now I just read them. I just read them. And let me break that rule.
You can get something from them on occasion. Yeah.
The intelligent ones I enjoy. I love intelligent criticism. And oftentimes I read criticism of our show, and we didn't nail that. You know, and some people think the things that I don't think that we got right, some people think that we did, which is great. But I see tons of flaws in our show all the time. But that's also because I don't always get my way, because there's three of us.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'm right. Yeah. But a lot of times I'm wrong. A lot of times I'm dead fucking wrong, you know what I mean? I'll fight hard for something on the show.
Yeah.
And I won't get my way because Rob and Charlie insist it's got to be this way, and then I watch it and I'm like, they were right. And then sometimes I watch it and I go, they were fucking wrong.
So you have
I was right.
You've had a Democratic
that's what it is.
Vote count from the beginning. 2 over 1.
2 against 1.
At all times.
Mm-hmm. That's the rule.
Still hasn't caused more of a problem?
No, I mean...
Because at some point you have the voted out third party has to let it go based on the agreement to the rule. And that's understandable and democratic and fantastic. But like you were saying, sometimes you just know you're right. And the other guys say, no, you're wrong. And you have to, by rule, say, okay, but that thing of knowing... Because like Rob says, I don't give a fuck what they think. This makes me laugh.
Yeah.
That is the truth of every great comedian from Richard Pryor to fill in the blank. Mm-hmm. At some point, you trust your own voice and you get on that stage and you talk.
That's what makes you unique.
Yeah. And there are going to be people who think you're brilliant and people who think you suck. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
You've got to stay true. But in this process where the three of you have the ultimate say, when you know you're fucking right.
It hurts.
And they both go, no, you're wrong this time. And you just want to slap them.
It hurts, man. It really hurts. It really hurts.
And you know them so well at this point. You want to shake them and say, not this time. Why don't you?
And we think we are so often in agreement about what's funny and what works, that when we're not in agreement, it drives me nuts. Because I'm like, how do you not see that this is the right thing to do?
Right.
You know, but the good thing is that even in
that doesn't sound anything like Dennis, by the way.
Yeah. But even in the democracy, like if those two guys think this is funny, and I always have an opportunity to make a very impassioned argument.
Right.
And if I can turn one of them, then I get my way. Mm-hmm. And then if I can't, then
have
I
you
have
ever
to let it
written
go.
this into an episode? Have I missed this?
Oh yeah, actually, well, the idea of a democracy, yeah, we did do an episode this year called Sweet D Gets Audited, where
Oh yeah.
yeah, and that was a little, but it wasn't really like what we're talking about.
No.
But it was the idea of trying to implement
I'm going to challenge you. I think this would actually make an amazing episode.
Oh really?
Yeah, a story. What do I know?
Okay.
But because it's so true to your guys' core now. You're not just creators of the show. You are these characters at some point. There's a reason that Dennis shook down the way you had him.
Yeah.
And so on.
Oh, he is the worst parts of me. Because people, they ask, like, are you anything like your character? Well, not really, but I have those thoughts.
He's your evil twin.
He's my evil twin.
If this is a Star Trek situation, he's the one with the goatee.
He's the bizarro me. Yeah. He's the one with the goatee. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we like to involve the live audience. This question coming to you from the Twitterverse at Patrick Cotnor. I'm going to say Cotnor. Strange spelling, Cotnoir.
Patrick Cocknoir.
Cock Noir.
Okay.
It's a
yeah.
family name. It's a family name.
I just wanted to be
The third.
to be clear.
Patrick Cotnor. Blackcock. Patrick.
You've taken it too far.
Yeah. Are there any subjects that they won't touch on Always Sunny? Anything too much? Has FX ever denied them doing something? We've covered some of that. It seems like the network, boy oh boy, they've just done such a great job at fanning the fire and not trying to put it out. And then I was asking about, are there any titles that don't get out of the room? But in terms of the democratic voting, are there subject matters that come up? I mean, there has to be, right? No?
It's all on a case-by-case basis.
Right.
I would say that on the whole, there's never been something where you can make a blanket statement of that's something we'll never touch.
I'll bet it comes down to whether you think it's funny or not.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And we found that most things there's a way to make it funny. But people, when we were hiring writers, there were always people who would come in, and every year, everybody's got a pitch for, Dennis gets AIDS or the gang gets herpes. And I'm like, I don't. I'm sure there's a way to make that funny, but I don't listen to that and go, oh yeah, everybody gets a fucking horrible STD. That's funny. That's not funny. I don't know, it just doesn't strike me as funny. Now, that's not to say there's not a way to do it, but we haven't been able to start from that place and think like, okay, let's figure out a way for all the characters to have herpes. Because the problem with that is that then you've got all these anytime my character then goes to have sex with a character or something, you're thinking like, well, that guy's got herpes, or they do. It's one of those things where I go, well, I don't want to say who has herpes. I don't know. But for the most part, no. There's not really anything. I mean, in the first season, the Charlie Gets Molested episode was about him getting allegedly molested by his priest.
Oh, I read the gym teacher was originally a priest.
The gym teacher was originally a priest, and the network at the last minute said, we're not comfortable with it, can you make it something else? And we almost quit the show because none of us had mortgages and none of us had wives and babies, and we were like, no, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Because that's what's happening in the world, and we're admitting that Mac is making it up. It's a lie. The guy didn't molest anybody. He didn't molest the McPoyle twins. He didn't molest Charlie. This priest did not molest anybody.
It was all
so
made
we
up.
were. The whole point of the episode was we're showing the other side of it. If anything, we're vindicating this Catholic priest from having done what all these other scumbags have been doing.
Right.
And it really pissed us off. We really almost walked out. We almost said, no, this is the show. Are you fucking kidding me? What is this shit? At the they said, look, guys, we love you. Just write in. Just do us a favor before you go crazy. Just write it as something else. You know, whatever you want. We thought, all right. So we came up with this gym teacher thing. We said, all right, let's retrofit the episode and make it a gym teacher, and let's just see if it's funny, and let's just see if it's still
if there's any difference,
edgy, if there's really that much of a difference. And at the end of the day, we went, no, this is still really funny.
Yeah,
so
because it wasn't ever really about that.
It's not really about that.
Right.
Right.
That's one of the things. While you guys touch on a lot of social,
but sorry, just real quick.
Sure.
So awesome that the network did that.
Yeah, no shit.
Because these other people might have been like, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
This isn't your show. This is our show. We're the ones putting up the money, you know what I mean? And screw you guys. And if you know, they could have just put their foot down and been assholes about it, but they weren't. They were like, I get it.
Yeah.
They said, I understand why you guys are pissed. We're like, okay, we're still pissed, but thanks for understanding. You know, and
it takes a little retrospective to appreciate.
Pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you guys appreciate the situation as it's happening. But there's not a Jew in the group, and that's, I think, why you're able to appreciate.
I'm 1/8 Jewish.
You got a little Jew in you?
I do.
Uh-huh.
My mom was a quarter Jew.
Stop. You don't often hear that. It's usually Cherokee. It's usually Cherokee.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think I'm 1/8 Jewish.
Cherokee.
That's it.
So you're going to light one candle for Hanukkah, and then you're good?
It's time for David Koechner to make his appearance, because it's we got a tweet 5.
T5 forever now.
You don't have a lot of famous faces doing guest star stuff on the show.
No.
They have Danny DeVito. What more do they
Conscious choice?
Yes.
You don't want anyone to be recognizable because...
You know, it's not...
this just dawned on me, by the way. I don't know that I've ever seen an actor on the show do a guest star role that I knew from
big
Wait, you
time
don't
famous.
count Dennis Haskins?
Dennis Haskins, yeah.
You guys think Mr. Belding doesn't count?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not. It's not a hard and fast rule, but we don't like the idea of somebody distracting from the character.
I don't want to take anything away from John Polito. Is that his name that played the brother,
Yes.
Frank's brother? Yeah. Fantastic actor. I just mean a famous person.
A super famous person. Well, initially, we
Not
would have
super
gotten
famous,
that person
like
anyway.
my famous.
Right.
My level
Kevin
of
Pollak famous.
Yeah.
We've had some Kevin Pollak famous people.
Have you?
I think, haven't we?
Name one.
John Polito?
I'm sorry, we're out of time. We just...
You would have made a great Frank's brother.
Oh,
Really, truly.
I love-
But we've been trying to have Polito on the show for a while.
love Polito.
He's great.
Give me
And
the
you know-
hi-hat.
But you know, he does that thing, but he's not like that. You know Polito.
Sweet, sweet man.
He is, and he came in and we had a role that it was the last year we did an episode where Sweetie goes back to high school and talks to her old theater teacher, and Polito was supposed to play that role, and he
man.
was totally different than anything I've ever. I mean, he played it very, you know, like a theater teacher, and you know, Polito's always doing this thing where he's like super
giving me
gruff,
the
you know.
hi-hat.
Yeah. But he played this theater teacher, and it was genius. I mean, it was so funny. And then he got like horrible bronchitis or something. He couldn't do it. So we had him back.
You know, I'm not famous at all, and I'm from Jersey.
You want to do the show?
Just putting that out
Everyone's
there.
auditioning for the show
No.
today.
I'm not.
No, I've only seen every episode. I definitely don't want to do it.
The tweet 5 you've been hearing about with the song and the thing and the that.
Yeah,
It's a
what is
rapid fire 5 questions. They're Coke or Pepsi, this or that, no correct answer kind of questions, specifically designed for you
Yeah.
by the audience.
Okay.
So instead of Coke or Pepsi, hey, it's JC, hey _ it's _ JC from the Twitter asks, bang waitress or Margaret?
Waitress.
Fight Charlie or Frank?
Frank.
More money, dick towel or shotgun?
Gunshot. Shotgun.
Oh yeah, they've got shot in quotations. BFF, Jan or Jack Bauer?
Jan?
I know, why does it say Jan?
Who the fuck is Jan Bauer? I don't know.
We don't know
the
that.
answer to that fucking question. 'Cause I don't know
JC, you
Jan
fucked
Bauer.
that one up. You call yourself a fan?
I don't know who Jan Bauer
And then,
is.
of course, the last one's a little more obvious. Day man, night man.
Well, you know, Dayman.
Yeah. That brings us, of course, to the live theater. Oh, my God, how much fun that must have been.
Oh, what a blast, dude. Yeah, that was so fun. I mean, I wish
How
we
many
had.
dates did you end up doing?
I think we did 8 shows in 6 cities because we did 2 in Philly and we did 2.
Oh my God,
we did 2 in Philly. We did 2 in New York.
Philly must have been.
Oh, it was a madhouse, man. It was madness, and that was the first time we really. I mean, we knew the show was getting more and more popular at the time, but.
Right.
The first thing we ever did was we did a small show at the Troubadour
Right.
in LA, and that was an accident.
You're just fucking around again.
We're just fucking around. Seriously, that is what happened. Our friend from Philly was a musician. He came in and said, "Hey, you guys should get on stage, just sing a couple songs from that musical with us." And then all of a sudden, the Troubadour advertised it as "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia Live." And we were like, "Oh shit! Well, now we got to put on like an actual show." So we said, "Well, I bet we could do this live." So we did it. It like sold out like that. We were like, "That was really fun."
But like in 90 minutes, like that, like boom, like nothing.
I think it was like literally 10 minutes and sold out. Seriously.
Yeah.
And then Troubadour said, "Well, do you want to do a second night?" And we were like, "Well, I guess if we're going to do a first night, may as well do a second night." Same thing. Boom, sold out. We were like, "Okay, that's interesting."
Now it's a thing.
Now it's a thing. Now it's a thing. And so then Live Nation actually approached us and said, "We want you guys to do a tour." And we thought, well, that'd be a good. We can't do a lot of dates just because of our schedules, but let's do it. It'll be good advertisement for the new season of the show, and it'll be fun. And it was the greatest
I
experience.
think you were
of my
going
life.
into season 5. You were
Yes.
Right. Yeah, that's what sounds like an interesting marketing tool ends up being probably insanely fun.
Oh God, yeah.
Because it's one thing to work in the vacuum that you guys do.
Right.
Writing the shows in the vacuum, shooting the shows in the vacuum, even smaller vacuum for editing and post.
Yes.
But to be out in front of your fans, and it's not Comic-Con where you've had, I'm sure, amazingly fun times getting to touch and see the fans, as it were. But this is, you get to be creative, silly, and goofy in front of a sold-out, packed auditorium.
It's like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I mean, you've got people singing this. There were moments that you can't even. We had to pause and stop because you couldn't hear anything. We couldn't hear anything, and that is just the greatest feeling in the world as a performer, to experience that kind of love and devotion for something that you've created and worked so hard on.
Yeah, and not to be underplayed, it also as a creative and personal experience, because there's one thing for agents, managers, and lawyers, oh my, to tell you what numbers are. We're getting, this is the number we're getting, we're very happy, we've improved to this number, DVD sales are up to this number, downloads are this number, and you're hearing all these numbers and everyone's saying, this is great, we're doing this, people like us, the audience is growing, this is fantastic, we've got a thing, it's kind of like how long as we want to do it kind of thing. This is wholly different. To stand in front of a fan base in different cities, allow them to gather and celebrate it themselves, that you're fucking there. The whole experience. As a couple of guys being goofy in a room, these plateaus, these various moments in time, this is a huge one.
Yeah, it's very gratifying. Because, I mean, I'm a fan of people and things, you know, so I know how it is to be really excited to see something live or to...
Like today, this.
Yeah.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, so I mean, I know, I've been on the other side of it too, so
Sure.
I can appreciate that feeling of being on the other side of it, and then to actually be. And again, it's not like, it's also different being the guy. It's like when you're getting up and you're performing something that not only you're in, but you wrote it.
Yeah.
We created that. You know, it's
I
like
rehearsed it clearly.
Yeah, we did rehearse it, and we.
There were wardrobe and costume changes, and.
But I mean, it's just just very, very, very gratifying.
How long did you actually rehearse the stage show?
Once, twice.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was really a thrown together thing.
And by
man.
the 8th or 9th show, it
was an actual show.
Yeah. Will you do it again?
That's part of the fun of it too, is that there is a certain winging it aspect, and that was something we tried to create with the show itself. We always wanted to feel like the characters. We never wanted anything to feel like dialogue. Right. I love the idea of like, because at least I think people know we write the show now, but initially people thought like, is this an improv show? What is it?
It still has a sense about it that you're making shit up.
Yeah.
It still does.
I like that. I like that feeling.
How much improv is going on? I mean, do you do a couple of takes, get it in the can, and then say fuck around?
Yeah, there's no
No
hard and fast rule, but yeah, I mean, a lot of the improv happens when we're doing our rewrites. You know, if we didn't write the show, one of our writers wrote the show, we and this is another thing that comes up on Twitter all the time that I probably shouldn't be responding to, but like, because people are, you know, they're like, oh, you guys need to write more episodes. We fucking write them all. You know,
Yeah.
people don't understand that, but like, you have a writer who writes the first draft, and then we give them notes, and they get as close as they can, and then we take the episode, and we break the story with them. It's it's always our thing. But we do a lot of improvisation in our rewrites.
Same thing, by the way, Larry David did on every episode of Seinfeld and probably Curb as well. But I know for sure on Seinfeld there were other people credited writing episodes, but he wrote every fucking episode.
You have to. Otherwise, it's not your voice.
It basically means you rewrite.
Yeah.
Every episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in editing is the final rewrite, of course.
Totally. And
Yeah.
you can do a lot of rewriting in that. Yeah. So then when we actually get up there, you know, as you know, as a performer, it's different, and we reserve the right as the producers and writers to change anything we want in any given moment, and that's half the fun. Is like playing that. Like sometimes I really don't know what Charlie's going to say, and that's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun, and it's always in character, and it's always true to the scene and true to the. And then if it isn't, you know, you fuck it up, and it's not live, so whatever, it doesn't matter. But
He has an energy that's almost reminiscent of the only person I could think of. I was trying to figure it out earlier. John Belushi. There's a explosive nature to
Yeah.
this. Is a powder keg of a thought process.
yeah.
He doesn't have to be huffing paint. He could just be having a sandwich.
He's Charlie is an extraordinarily gifted person in general, and he has the ability to just say the most unbelievably original shit out of nowhere, and then you say something to him later, like, okay, you know, when you said that, that was really funny. He's like, all right, what are you talking about? He like doesn't even remember, or I don't know. But he's just, I mean, he's a really, really funny guy, and he has this thing that he does, you know, that we've never really exploited on the show because it wouldn't make a tremendous amount of sense. But he can just sit down at a piano and just play the piano, and he'll just start making songs up.
Sure.
And they're ridiculous, but they're like weirdly good.
Sure.
They're weirdly catchy, and the lyrics are insane, but they rhyme. I mean, it's almost like freestyle rapping, but like on the piano,
Right.
and not rapping and singing.
Right.
It's freestyle singing. He's a funny dude, man. He's a really, really funny guy, and he's one of those rare individuals that can get broad and big and still have it feel somewhat grounded, and it feels true to the moment.
Yeah, that was the similarity I felt to Belushi, I think, when I was trying to find some sort of parallel performer that you could root for him while he was being abstract in his thinking.
Yeah.
Because he still seemed real.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Some people, when they get that big, it feels pushed. It feels forced, and you see those people get really big, and you're like, ooh, the less funny you are, the bigger you get, and the less funny it gets.
Right.
And it's a gift to be able to get big, and still have it somehow be believable and.
It's
funny.
nearly impossible. Actually.
It's tough.
And by the way, not just Charlie. It's one of the things you pull off on the show week after week. You guys are on that high wire of. There is no too big on this show. We're going to maintain our character's integrity, and then we're just gonna fucking go.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, it's kind of the magic.
It is. It's a good. We've created a playground where we can actually do that.
You mentioned that you enjoyed the sports coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a sense of loss still to this day of having to let go of coaching the basketball. And I know that you also happen to enjoy the Twitter, and yet it gets under your skin a little. We have all those things together for you in a little game we like to play on the show called Who Tweeted?
Very exciting. I get to come up here
Who
now.
tweeted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely original game.
Who tweeted? is the game we're gonna play.
Designed by our head writer, Jamie Foxx. That is her real name. And Sammy, our host, will explain the rules of the game to you.
Okay,
sir.
good, because I really don't know what
No,
they
no,
are.
you
Gladly.
don't.
No, you're fine. So this is a competition betwixt you and Kevin. And are you familiar with Tyra, Paris, and Bieber
Yeah,
as human beings?
sure.
Great. Well, they're all on the Twitters.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to do is one at a time, I'm going to read a series of 8 tweets,
Okay.
and all of them were either authored by Tyra, Paris, or Bieber.
Fantastic.
Yeah, right.
So as I start reading a tweet, at whatever point you feel like you know who wrote it, you ring in. You can ring in by saying your own name, or just making some sort of noise that I know it's you.
Okay.
I'll point to you, whoever rings in first, and then you get 3 seconds to say either Tyra, Paris, or Bieber.
Okay.
You ring and you get it right, you get yourself 5 points. Ring and you get it wrong, you're going to lose 3. And at the end of the game, whoever has the more points
What?
will win that dancing.
A dancing
or falling
Andrew Jackson?
Andrew Jackson.
All right. Okay.
How about that?
I like that.
He's
All right.
a little drunk, Andy.
We're not playing for honor. We're
no.
playing for cold hard cash.
Cash.
You know
I
what
like
that
that.
is right there? That is at least 10 diapers.
Yeah, that's 4 coffees.
There you go. 4 coffees and a diaper.
Everything's got value, don't it? All right.
Are you ready to play?
Here we go.
Who tweet? Feels so good to be at home in my own bed. About to take a bubble bath and
Paris.
relax.
Oh, sorry, Paris.
That is correct.
It is correct.
Nice way to start.
He is
nice
off
way to
to a
start.
big jump. Big lead.
Big lead. Tweet number 2.
I got some catching up to do.
Just finished getting my hair highlighted by @my.
Bieber.
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
I would have said Bieber, too. It can't be Paris again.
I don't think he highlights his hair. Fuck.
Paris.
2 Paris in a row. That's where he gets us. He surprises us.
Yes.
All right.
Every
slow down.
week.
All right, slow down.
That's a
Howerton.
negative.
Slow down. Slow down.
It's all right. You're still in the lead by 2 points.
Tweet. I've yet to ring in.
Tweet number 3. Heard the fans outside the hotel almost ripped Kenny Hamilton's shirt off.
Bieber.
That is correct.
Yeah, he's back on the boards.
Wow.
I've got to get in the
Wow.
game.
You've got to get in this thing, Kevin. Tweet number 4.
I gotta think like Pujols.
Tweet number 4. Don't forget, Boo.
Kevin Tyra.
That is correct.
Oh, that's how we do it.
That was, I feel like,
We hadn't heard from Tyra in a while. He
Well,
figured she had to
Boo.
be in there somewhere.
it was a bit of a tip-off. It's kind of a black thing.
Little
you know what I
bit.
mean? The boo thing. Right?
Again, I
How
go back to my
dare
first
you.
question, sir, at the top of the show. All right.
All right, now it's
7 to
now
5.
it's exciting.
Now
7
it's
to
a
5.
game.
2-point game. Tweet number 5.
Yeah.
Had so much fun at the DJ Awards. So proud of my friend / producer, DJ.
Bieber.
That's correct.
That is incorrect.
What?
I'm
Oh,
so
really?
sorry.
The whole
DJ
DJ
friend?
thing.
Paris.
Okay.
Oh, it's Paris again.
Yeah, the DJs. Okay, all right.
All right.
Now
This is
Kevin
what happens
takes the
when
lead.
when you play, you know.
It's a 1-point game. We got ourselves a 1-point game.
How many are we in?
That was tweet number 5. There
so
are
we have 3 more?
tweets remaining.
Okay.
3 left to crush.
Here we go. Tweet number 6.
It's 5 to 4. It's a very close game.
Yeah.
Actually, he's answered 4 questions. I've answered 1.
My fans
I'm not
are
doing
incredible because they not only care for me, but each other. We are...
Tyra.
I'm sorry.
Bieber.
No. Bieber.
That time, Bieber.
Bieber.
Okay.
Bieber. I know. It's all right. You're still in the plus column.
I feel like I should just hear the whole thing first. I feel like that's what you're doing. Well, no, you didn't. The one you answered, you didn't even listen to. You listened to 2 words.
was being
Well,
a
Boo.
dick.
Boo came out. What else do we need to hear? All right.
That was Bieber, though, right?
That was Bieber. We got 2 to go.
I take these for the alcohol, in case anybody's wondering.
Tweet number 7.
Okay.
Rosie O'Donnell interviewed me about being an entrepreneur at #Fortune and...
Paris.
I'm sorry, no friend.
And this is feeling a little
Shocking.
Nazi youthish,
Yeah.
if I may.
That's what I was going for.
Okay, good.
Shockingly enough, that was Tyra.
That's what I was going for.
That was Tyra.
Is what he's.
Hi.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Mr. Girls, go. Now, as it happens, our last tweet is typically worth 8 points
I mean,
because it's the 8th and final tweet.
Yes.
So this one's worth 8 points.
Yeah.
Okay, so I could come back on this.
This could be.
I mean, it's
could
like-
be a winning tweet.
I'm going to sit back and allow our guests to answer correctly,
All right.
thereby...
Well, then let me
like
read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, read the whole thing. See if that
Here
makes
we
a
go.
difference.
So annoying when the airlines lose your luggage. Frowny face. Especially when it's 8 big suitcases of all my favorite outfits. Hope they find them.
Okay, outfits. There's no way Bieber's calling clothes outfits. Is he?
Outfits. I'm going to go with Paris on this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, our winner!
winner,
who tweeted,
yeah!
Mr.
Come
Howerton
on!
the third.
Way to
The
bring
third.
it home.
You know, my middle name is also Franklin.
Is it really?
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In fact,
Nice.
you're only the second person I've ever met with that middle name.
Really? And you were named after a Twilight Zone episode.
I was named after FDR, actually.
Oh, okay.
Franklin
hell is
Delano
named
Romanowski?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Seinfeld. Thank you very much.
Dan LaVine, ladies and Jews, bring those paws together.
Cheers.
He's here for the remaining 9 minutes. Nicely done, sir. Nice comeback.
Oh, thank you.
Feel better?
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like you guys made the last one 8 points. It wouldn't normally be, and then
You know,
gave me the
sometimes we
last
made the last one 20 points.
Yeah,
so
we have.
really,
Okay.
you didn't. It
What
wasn't
we
that
do
bad.
on the last one is to make damn sure it's yours to lose or win.
Oh.
And that's how it's sport.
I appreciate
It
that.
feels
All right,
good
I'll
to
take
me.
my $20.
Yeah. Get yourself a little coffee. And I'll see if I can't make John Polito proud. Okay, so we talked about Careful What You Wish. You're now editing, writing, starring. At various times, are you aware, or when was the first time you kind of became aware, not only how absurdly bizarre and uncharacteristic of a environment and work-related situation that you have as the star of a hit television show, how rare it is that a creator of a hit television show is also one of the stars. All these things together, of having all the responsibility. What I love about stand-up and why I continue to do it is that after being a gun for hire in a number of movies, I don't know the exact number, 64, I've got no say over what happens in the end. So as a stand-up, I control it all. I live and die by my own wits. I get all the blame and all the credit.
Right.
You guys pulled off this miraculous job. How do you guys talk about what the fuck next? Because this doesn't exist in life or show business. Technically. You want to stay in the now. You don't want to think next. I'm sure the network, I've read that you guys have had a few other projects that, in fact, there's one that you either finished pilot for them or you owe them or something. And you're still in the zone. You're still, there's no end in sight. But is there any thought to how fucking rare and fantastic this whole thing is, and how the hell do we follow it?
Yeah, I mean, that certainly creeps in. I mean, I've never felt, I think I would probably feel more that way if I was a comedian or if I was even just considered myself to be a comic actor. But it's interesting because the three of us are not comedians and we're not comic actors, and we didn't start off as a comedy troupe. And none of us set out to be comic actors. That's just what happened to be the thing that hit. And we certainly like doing comedies.
Your instincts have been so honed after 6 years of this also.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder sometimes, I mean, it's interesting how much not a comedian Rob is. He is almost to the point where he's incredibly paranoid of people thinking of him as a comedian, because he's actually a person of great intelligence and depth, and doesn't love the idea of being thought of as a clown for the rest of his life. But so I mean, I think yes. To answer your question and not be so long-winded, you do start to wonder, like, well, is anything I'm going to do moving forward after the show going to live up to the show? I don't care.
Is there a part of you that maybe will be might be relieved that a great deal of the pressure and responsibility of having to do all those jobs. It's one thing to get to do all those jobs, but now, in the case of Care for What You Wish, it's the greatest job in the world, and completely and utterly taken over your lives in every single possible way.
Yeah,
and there's no time to really do anything else.
That
and
is
I
true.
know you each have done things here and there.
No, but for years it was our lives to the point where it was getting in the way. We couldn't do anything else. I mean, producing 13 episodes of the show took up the entire year because we care and because we work hard and because we were still figuring it out. Now, 7 seasons in, we've kind of gotten to the point where we can produce those shows in a shorter period of time without compromising the quality, just because everyone who works for us has also gotten better at their jobs. Excuse me. And so now we're just now figuring out, okay, how can we keep doing the show and do stuff outside of the show? And it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that, because we've got a lot of things that we're working on. We've got other shows that we're producing. We've got other movies that we're writing. We've got a lot of things that we're working on, and maybe some of them will be great, and maybe nothing will pan out. I don't know. But I'm always going to just keep doing it. I want to do this because I like working. I think it's fun.
You found something that you really enjoy, and that
I just want to keep. I want to just keep creating stuff that I think is cool, and that I think is funny, and I think is awesome. And I just hope people continue to like what I think is cool.
Well, what's great is you guys have now earned street cred beyond your initial imagination. Truly,
yeah, well, and
truly.
sadly, I consider myself to be an actor first and foremost, but I feel like I'm more in demand as a writer and a producer than I am as an actor, and I've been rejecting that for a long time. I don't consider myself a writer or a producer, and yet I'm doing a lot of it. More of it than I am doing acting. That's the only thing I resent. And even though you probably get more respect as like I can walk around town and say, yeah, I'm producing 3 television shows, you know. I'm producing this movie or that movie, you know, but it's never been my ambition.
Although Gary Shandling certainly is thought of as a comedian first, he was a writer in television comedy first, who eventually got to a place where he could kind of only think in terms of writing for his voice from one television show to another. So a worst case scenario wouldn't be having to write for yourself again.
No.
That would be fantastic.
It's fantastic. It's not many people are afforded that opportunity, as you say, and so I'm trying to... I
think you guys have earned each of you, not just the 3 of you together.
But here's the thing. I don't want to write shit for myself. I want other people. That's the hard.
Right.
I want other people to do all that hard work
and then hire me and say, yeah, you're the guy to pull this off as an actor, so I don't have to do all that other shit. I want it, when I'm not in a scene, I want to sit in my trailer and masturbate. I don't want to fucking have to be behind the thing, making sure everything's going right and making sure somebody's not fucking up my script constantly. That's what I have to do on the show, you know.
I can assure you that the grass is always greener. When you get enough time to masturbate in the trailer, you'll be in there thinking, well, that was 9 minutes. I wish I was.
Yeah.
I wish I was
masturbating on set to my own script. To watching the actors behind the monitors performing my material.
Yeah.
That's what you want to be masturbating to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What about writing and acting and directing a movie? I mean, I hear you. I do, and I believe you. I honestly believe you. Because I have a few friends who have done the writing and directing and acting, and at some point they get asked to act in somebody else's movie, and they say, holy shit, what a fucking great job that was. All I did was go in and do my scenes, and I got to go back, you know.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is the opportunity and the street cred that you guys have now earned hard and fought and earned. The grass is always greener, and I hope you find something that inspires you to want to continue down this unbelievably successful path that you now have the burden and responsibility to continue down. I mean, you know, I'll throw you a bone if I can as an actor, believe me. I've got things. But, my friend, you've,
I think the hardest part is, for me, the hardest part is owning the idea that I could be a writer. I still don't. I've written 80 or co-written 84 episodes of television, yet for some reason in my mind I can't write worth a shit. I don't know what I'm doing. Every time I sit down and I look at the empty page, I'm like, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. I'm not confident as a writer.
Right.
I'm not confident as a producer. And
until you're in the zone doing it.
I just have to, I'm getting to the point where I'm learning how to own it. And maybe being able to finally recognize, maybe I am a good writer. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird that I wouldn't think of myself that way, because I think probably some people would, but I don't know how to own that.
Well, it isn't what you want, or it isn't what you set out to do.
It's just what I'm doing at the time to facilitate my desire to act.
Right.
And to act in stuff that I like.
Yeah, clearly what I liked from the research initially, in terms of the inception of the show, was a way for actors to be proactive in their own careers as actors.
Yeah.
Rob may have had designs as a writer.
Yes, he did, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you and Charlie, it was more like, God, well, let's fuck around and do this. Mm-hmm. Be it short films or web series, there's a lot of ways now for actors to be proactive in terms of getting together with some friends and working on written material. And this just blew up and became annoyingly successful.
Yep.
and completely taken over.
It's taken over.
Oh, this is a good one. A little tweet 5 for you.
T5.
Thank you, Dave.
T5. T5
From the Twitterverse at Murder She Wrote. Sure. Murder She Tote. Murder She Twote. Murder She Twote.
Is
Took me
that
4
the
readings.
extensive
Murder She Twote.
tweet?
Yeah, Murder She Twote. She's using the
That's pretty good.
twote.
That's pretty good.
I fell asleep during that.
I don't care.
Mm-hmm. Artemis or Waitress?
What? Oh, that thing. Waitress.
Wolf Cola or Patty's Microbrew?
Wolf Cola.
Fat Mac, Skinny Mac?
Fat Mac.
Rum Hand, Denim Chicken. That was Denim Chicken. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, denim chicken.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, denim chicken.
I love rum here.
Michael Vick or literally anybody else. I love how they associate you with Philadelphia because the show is set there.
Yeah, I'm going to say literally anybody else.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to make a rum ham. I think next time I do ham, I think I'm
been
going
doing
to.
it.
Yeah.
People have been
What do you
making it,
hear back from the peeps that are making the rum ham?
Pretty gross.
Yeah.
I did, because I
gross.
did once make, because on Mad Men, they Sally Draper accidentally made rum French toast for her father, so I made rum French toast. Not so good.
No, I remember you not enjoying that until you
It was
slept
not
it off. Yeah.
Yes, the saltiest food you can possibly get your hands on mixed with
Sugar.
hard alcohol is tough. That's a tough combo.
Yeah.
Tough combo.
I've got a question for our guest, if I may.
Yeah.
I enjoyed your work very much in the Everything Must Go picture.
Thank you.
And I'm wondering if you have any stories about that you'd like to share. How did you get involved? Was it just an audition, or did you know someone? Or?
Yeah, no, Everything Must Go.
Will Ferrell?
Yeah, it was a Will Ferrell movie, a drama, surprising enough. And I got involved in that. That I did just audition for.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun because he's an extremely confident first-time writer-director that did that. That allowed. He knew the show too. So the cool thing is the first scene that Will and I had together, we were sitting across from each other at a desk. And I'm a big fan of cross-shooting things. Tough thing about cross-shooting something, which basically just means, for those who don't know, you're not shooting one side and then shooting the other side, which is what happens most of the time because you want to get good eyes on your actors, so you can't get the camera close enough to get good eyes if you're shooting two sides. But I think the director saw that as an opportunity to get two funny guys who can riff in a room and let them go. So that was really fun because we cross-shoot our show in order to capture the improv and try and, because my feeling is that if you can get both people on camera at the same time, you're going to get your best shit. Because when I'm on camera, I'm on. And if you're also on camera and you're on and we're both on, then you're going to get shit that most people can't get because they're shooting one side at a time.
Technically, you just need 2 cameras.
You just need 2 cameras.
That's it.
That's it.
What are we talking about?
Anyway, so Will and I got to do a lot of stuff
That's very rare in a film.
It's very rare in film, and it was a lot of fun, and he is the nicest guy I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, he really, the first time, Jamie, we met Will Ferrell, was it after the Radio City show?
Yeah, they were doing a promo for what was Semi-Pro, and they did, it was him and Dimitri Martin.
Nick Swartzen.
And Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, and
they were doing
we just wouldn't
stand-up.
stop talking about how absurdly, hey guys,
He's so friendly.
hey guys, how's it going?
He was so nice that it was almost pathological at first. To me, I was like, this is fucking weird.
He's a character.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
and he is funny, but he's not one of those guys that's on all the time,
Right.
which I always appreciate.
What a relief.
I'm not a big fan of that. The people that feel like they have to be funny constantly. Just shut the fuck up, you know what I mean? Like, I actually like having real conversations with people, you know? I probably wasn't funny enough today. Because I'm not a fucking clown.
You guys are all very hell-bent on not being clowns. Unfortunately, your characters are.
Unfortunately, you are.
No, unfortunately, your characters are. Your
Yeah, they
characters
are clowns,
absolutely clownish, which is why we love them.
Yeah.
The good news is, you guys have succeeded wildly in creating characters that are not extensions of yourself. In your case, it's the one with the goatee. They're tremendous exaggerations of silly sides, and there's just enough heart in each one of them that we so fucking care. And it's quite an accomplishment, and I can't thank you enough for spending a couple of hours with us talking about it and the whole journey, because we're fascinated, and honestly,
Thank you.
It means a great deal.
Thank you.
I did threaten you earlier with the Larry King game. I showed you a couple of other attempts.
Yeah, very strange game.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a long-standing tradition. You're 132. I think Jane Campion might have been the only one, and Eddie Izzard, two foreigners.
But what, said they wouldn't do it?
Somehow got away with not doing it.
Yeah. It's not the kind of thing I would normally do.
No.
I'll be honest with you.
That's the.
But I mean, wait, like, that's, you know, why? Let's do it.
Right. All right. Here's the deal. When you're ready, that is your camera. You'll be doing it too.
Okay.
I want you to embody your idea of what Larry King represents to you, and then have Larry share something about himself. We did none of our business. We didn't need to know that. And then whatever town you want to throw the phone to.
Can I borrow that pen? I feel like he.
I wish you would.
Does
I
he
got some
often have
glasses for you if you'd like to, whatever you want, prop-wise.
Does he have a pen in his hand
I'm going
sometimes?
to say yes.
Often?
Feels right.
Okay, let me see. Larry King, all right. Folks, I'm old as shit. And my intestines don't work so well anymore, so now when I eat, I have a tendency to shit out Whole Foods. We're going to take the phones down to Wichita.
So there's a turkey in your pants.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
I guess so, yeah, I don't know. I just have this image of a man so old that his intestines don't actually process the food. It just comes right out.
Just a ham sandwich.
Yeah, just a ham sandwich.
Floating in the bowl.
Just a chewed up ham sandwich coming out of his ass in the toilet bowl.
And again, I can't thank you enough for sharing.
Yeah.
All that you could and do.
Yeah. My pleasure.
Yeah, honestly.
It's fun.
It really meant a great deal.
Thank you.
If you wouldn't mind sitting there uncomfortably for 60 seconds while I wrap things up for the folks at home.
Not at all.
And thanks for spending 2 hours with us. Look at that.
Oh my God! You're
I know,
kidding.
right?
That's too long.
No, it is.
That's
It's too much.
Nobody wants to
No.
listen to
Listen.
us for 2 hours.
What
That's
they'll do,
fucking crazy.
They'll download it and listen to like 15 minutes at the gym, and then you don't have to be bothered.
All right.
Yeah. I do want to thank my guest today, who was very, insightful to the process, which is a lot of what I'm personally fascinated with, and then we've heard from a lot of you out there that's the joy of the show as well, is getting these folks to open up a little further beyond the 6-minute spot on Conan O'Brien, who we love madly. But there you go. There's 2 hours with the Glenn Howerton III. Next week, a pre-tape, Ivan Reitman.
Boy, what a good show that was.
It will be my birthday. Again, send the gifts to care of Sam Levine.
Really, that's...
P.O. Box
No one will
9.
get those. No one will get those.
Chicago, Illinois.
Very well.
60666. Nope.
Maybe.
And then Patrick Warburton. We've got the Ed O'Neill. Check the calendar. I don't remember who's all coming up. Jamie Lee Fitness is coming up as well, I believe, in November.
Yeah.
And then I think the Jason Biggs rounds things up in December, and we take the rest of the year off.
I think you should have some more obscure guests on, like have like William Zabka, you know, the guy who played Johnny.
Oh, I would
Karate
love
Kid.
it if we could get Zabka.
You know what I'm saying? Like, get a couple guests that are like some icon from like, you know, a long time ago that you just would not expect.
Robert Morse. We had Robert Morse on.
Who's that?
Please.
But he's on Mad Men.
Yeah,
so
I met
he's still
Zabka
relevant.
at a Fuddruckers a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Are you William Zabka?" And the reaction he gave, he's like, "You know, I've been stopped 10,000 times. You're like the second person to actually know my name."
Yeah.
It's like that.
Everybody's like, Johnny!
Yeah, it was
How
a
about
bully in a
Larry
million 80s
Hovis?
movies.
Get Larry Hovis.
Larry
I'm
Hovis.
still mad at that time Corey wouldn't let me say hi to John Pankow. I was going to say that I liked him in a supporting role.
And by the way, just be straight up about it. Know that people won't know who that is and say, it's so-and-so from this. You know, and put the character's name in. They'll understand.
Right.
They haven't had an interview opportunity in
fan.
a long time. You're
Right.
a fan, and people want to know, like, what's going on with William Zabka? You know?
And then see if I can turn that into 2 hours.
May I vote for Brian
right
Doyle
now.
Murray?
I mean, do that.
Brian Doyle Murray.
I'm voting for
If
Brian
If you have
Doyle Murray.
access to
BDM.
Brian Doyle Murray, not that he, at any way, shape, or form, should be lumped in with the fantastically talented but lesser seen Larry Hovis
Or William Zabka.
or William Zabka.
Yeah.
We desperately want Brian Doyle Murray.
Get Dolph Lundgren. Seriously,
There's a
get
catch.
Dolph Lundgren on the show. When have you seen an in-depth interview of Dolph Lundgren?
And let me tell you,
I would watch that show before I would watch some other celebrity that I've seen a million times in interviews. I'm like, you
Right.
know, what the fuck does Dolph Lundgren have to say about himself?
oh, I'll tell
Before
you,
Sean Connery.
Dolph Lundgren,
yeah,
smarter,
I mean, you know, like,
smarter than everyone in the room
that's
put
what I'm
together.
saying, yeah.
The man has 2 PhDs.
Yeah.
True.
The
Get
first
Dolph
one is
Lundgren,
in.
man.
I don't know.
Okay.
Welding.
Okay, I repeat.
Get
If you-
Don the Dragon Wilson. Everybody that I've named is like has done martial arts in movies. Have you noticed that? I don't know why.
I think we now know how you spend your time.
Yeah.
How you spend the off season.
Well, you know where the characters think,
As it
yeah,
were.
but, you know, yeah.
All right, so check the calendar and see if Dolph and the Dragon
Don the Dragon Wilson.
Dolph the Dragon Lundgren.
and yes,
Ray Don Chong.
we had Ray Don Chong find in Chris Pratt a couple weeks ago. She discovered him, so we have the connection. It's 3 degrees of Kevin Pollak. All right. Thank you all very much for participating. I want to thank all of the crew that worked today. Samantha Ward, our fantastic intern Adam, who ran all over the place, including into our home at one point, which is still off-putting.
He carried me on his back on the way to the show. That's how I got here.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable now. Dr. Chen here in the
beautiful.
studio.
It's beautiful.
I think he stayed awake this week.
J-Mac, Josh, and Emily out there making it all happen, helping the shuttle to lift and get air. Keep writing to contact@kevinpollakchatro.com and thanking. Oh, this is our last show here in this studio space. I did bury the lead.
Right.
Literally.
Technically, it's second to last for those watching because of the pre-tape, but
Yes, everyone's applauding. The crew is applauding outside. We will no longer be in this facility, and I have a 6 to 2 wager that our start at the new facility will be delayed.
6 to 2 or 3 to 1,
Or
if
3
you
to
will.
1. I'm going to go with 6 to 2 though,
Okay.
because I think I'll get more takers.
All right. So
Yeah.
it's like you're betting on a horse.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. 7 to 5. 16 to 4.
Get Dolph Lundgren as your guest, and I guarantee you'll get in that fucker spot on time.
That's how we get the new studio.
Yep.
Dolph, if you're listening, Dolph, can you hear me?
He definitely watches this show.
He's sitting there with the PhD up. Now he's Schwarzenegger.
No,
Why?
he's not Schwarzenegger.
Where is he from,
He's not.
Lundgren?
Okay,
He's
who
German?
fucking knows?
Something?
Oh, I don't know.
You know what? Let's
Europe.
find out.
Europe.
He's from Europe. He's from the Europes.
He's from wherever you make the most beautiful people in the world.
Clearly.
You know,
Adonis.
He's an Adonis.
He is literally the Hitler Youth Adonis that we've all wanted so
is.
very much to have on this
He
show.
really, if there was a Hitler Youth action figure, it would be like Dolph Lundgren as a kid.
Yep. 100%.
Now we know. And by the way, the arms on the Dolph Lundgren doll, only one goes up.
Yeah.
How dare you?
See what I did?
How dare you, sir?
Brought it all together. He's Swedish. Dolph is Swedish.
Is that right?
Oh, that's what they're telling me.
I don't think that's
Okay.
accurate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Write to us about Dolph and nothing else, please. Born in Stockholm, they're also telling me. Stop typing. The show's over. We'll see you next time. Until then, and as always, get out of my face.